What's up, everybody? Every day I stream. This is Yogi Chris, PhD, Chris DeVilbiss, Pimpin' Yogi. Every day I stream. And this is the IMC Success Lecture. So every day I stream. Part of your success could be this, because success is measured in like however many different ways you can measure success, like so many. Yeah, of course, everybody thinks of money, and that's important. And whatever you do to make money, you could make more money if you communicated better in whatever you do, which there would be some specifics in what you do. That's the language of what you do, whatever your job is. And maybe there's just also in general success in life, whatever it is that you do in life, there's going to be interacting with other people and how to get the information that you want, get timely so you don't spend so much time, lead it somewhere. Where are you trying to go? What are you doing with that interaction? What are you doing even just that day, convincing people to cooperate, repelling unwanted attention. Wherever you go, there's people that want to give you attention or want to take really from you, and that takes your attention. How to navigate the world in a way, maybe as an adult, nobody's looking up to you and you don't need to check your behavior so much. You don't, but in this path of improving in your status and in the quality of who you are, how you are, your presence, how attentive you can be, people will look up to you, people will follow you. And as they do, even like if you're a guy and a girl is following you, in life, that's kind of what the relationship is. The girl is following you in life, and she'll mimic things that you do to a fault, really. You'll see qualities in your own character that you don't like her expressing. And it's not just like if she's talking like a man or whatever, it's it's like how some of your syntax, how you put words together, some of your statements, even some of your gestures, some of your ideas, a lot of things that are defining of you and who you are, she'll take those on, and your followers will take those on. And they'll do so a lot of times not really consciously. So they're just mimicking you. They admire you, so they mimic you. And so you'll see qualities about yourself that you weren't noticing or aware of when it was just you doing them. You notice them when the other person's doing them. And it's amazing how you notice when the other person is doing them. Sometimes they may irk you or annoy you or something. And it's so amazing that those are your qualities that they were, mimicking or mirroring. So as you raise in status and success, more and more people will follow you. They'll listen to how you think, how you talk. And what's so surprising is they'll resist at first too. It's really funny. They'll tell you it's wrong, and then you'll hear them do it. And it's so funny. And they're not conscious the whole time. They're not aware of that kind of a knee-jerk reaction that a lot of us have really to new ideas or unfamiliar ways of being or thinking. Is we meet them with initial resistance. And you'll see that even with yourself, like a common IMC philosophy or understanding is that people are going to hate on you when you start to ascend in your position in life. There's a lot of people or I don't know if there is a lot of people around you, but the people that are in your life, when you start changing in your self-confidence, in your movement through the world, like there's clearly you're thinking of yourself differently, you're seeing yourself differently. Maybe you value your time, or something is different, but it's invisible. You just see it when the person, how they live, and you're like, oh, that person, they're moving in a different way, they've changed it up. And yeah, we all change day to day, but if you've been in the same town for a while or had the same friends for a while, like you haven't changed up that much. You're gradually changing. So when you start to study some self-improvement or something, especially like AZD, IMC Tech, and you change drastically from their perspective, a lot of those people are going to resist. And a lot of it is just their knee-jerk reaction to the new you and the different you. It's not necessarily that they're haters, but that is a hater program in their behavior. It's a hater behavior program that's kind of ingrained in us all. Some of it might even have genetic roots, just how we, don't like things that are outside of our tribe, different from what we're used to. It doesn't matter really. what's so interesting is that I myself have that also. That comes out sometimes. And your communication qualities will be mirrored by people who follow you. So it's not that I seek followers, but that's a natural order of things. It's a measure of success, you could say, that another human being, an intelligent human being that could decide to do whatever with their life, is deciding to follow you. Like that's why there's a power trip in that, because whoa, how powerful that is, that a living sentient human being that has so much free will and could do whatever with their life is following you. And then it starts to matter, well, how high value? What is that person's value? Are they a nincompoop? Are they brainwashed? Or that's why it's so important to have 2 or 3, because it lends more power. The second follower lends power to the idea, and to the first follower, it empowers the first follower so that they're not being just like controlled or tunneled or whatever. But then you could chase likes, right? You could chase followers and have a bunch of followers, but they're not, the sincerity and the depth and the conviction and the strength of the follower is not an obvious thing to measure, really. Like I can measure the strength of AZD's followers because of how hard I push them in my communications with them, and I'm prying and I'm wielding AZD's power and influence over the person's head so I can get reconnaissance and understand the person's situation, where they might not divulge that information so readily, and they may even resist to the point where they will shun me. They'll block me, or they'll not respond for 10 messages or whatever. At some point I stopped messaging, but they miss out on the next level, and they may be okay with that. And that, either they're too stupid to see that, or they don't have they don't really have the conviction to learn the next level. And so they're okay with that. And it's my bad if they didn't know that, because I need to get them to understand that, through me is the window. It's the hallway. It's the corridor to AZD's advanced tech. I'm not AZD's advanced tech. I don't teach AZD's advanced tech, but I am the gateway there. Or you can go to my website and sign up through there, or you can go to one of the apprentices, or any, even Sultan and Fernando. Like I have an arrangement with everybody because I'm so good at what I do that the people that I irk, well, fuck them. And yet I must also check, because I don't want to leave anybody behind. I want nobody to not get the goodness if they can get the goodness, if they can get it like intellectually, because I do not I do not lose out, or I'm not made less in any way by another person getting it. Long term, short term, someone else getting it is a really good thing. And if I repel them or push them away from this goodness, then that I didn't do my job. I'm a messenger. I don't want to leave any man behind, but I also don't want to be stepped on. I don't want to be just not respected. I think there's a difference between not respected and disrespected. Think about that. The difference between disrespecting and not respecting. Right? I don't want either of those, but there is a difference. And it's treated differently because those are two different things. So where am I going with this? Because this is brief. It's a brief talk. When I was thinking earlier about this, the IMC success talk, and what I would talk about, there were a couple of things that went through my mind. First, I was like, every day I got to stream. That's what I started this recording with, was every day you got to stream. Or maybe you don't got to stream, but it's such a powerful thing. Like I'm talking with Ella, I'm talking with Tony, I'm talking with Jaime is on Instagram, I'm talking with Daniel Jude Newberry and Jeff motherfucking Harris basketball. These are IMC brothers. I got 4 IMC brother monks right on there. I don't know who's on Facebook. Is there anybody watching on Facebook? Yeah, somebody's watching on Facebook. They haven't liked it. I don't know why you're just watching the whole time and not liking it, but there's that. Might be minting, actually, it looks like. So That's available. Vanessa's on. That's available. That I'm talking with a bunch of people. I'm able to share my ideas with you. You all have different interests in what I do. Some of you may have very, very small interest in what I do. That would be impossible if you're listening right now. If you've listened as long as you have and you're still on right now, then there's something more you got interested. So let me give you some value. Let me give you what you want. All right. As I move closer to AZD from the beginning, what it was in the beginning was always just a tremendous amount of loyalty, and not just to the teacher. I think very little did I have it to the teacher for like the teacher's sake. Like, it wasn't a worship or adoration of the teacher. It was of the information, man. It was so freeing. And it's been commented by AZD that something about how I check. What is it I say? Like, you can't bullshit me or something. I'm sure you can bullshit me, but the idea of what he was expressing is saying, basically, if the teacher said something false or whatever, like, Chris is going to ask a question about that thing. He's not going to like let it go, kind of thing. And the truth is I let a lot of things go. It's just when I have a genuine question about something, like, I'm not afraid of the information because I'm chasing the information. And so that keeps a teacher very honest, and a teacher really appreciates that when a student is like that, because fuck yeah, that's where real teachings can happen, is those real questions. So your enthusiasm as a student is, I think, a big measure. It's a very important variable, rather, of your success with this and what you do. So let me give you some more value as I think about and look about who is on. This is John Pino, I see, is on right now. I don't know much about John Pino, but and you got to join the IMC crew, but Jeff Harris basketball and Daniel Jude Newberry, your power of your imagination in altering how you communicate, and you're conjuring with your imagination a different scenery, a different imagery of yourself. And that manipulates the role of, your spiritual orientation to the moment. You might have a different orientation and presence on the moment because of how you're activating your imagination, doing whatever you're doing. And you don't want to phase out of reality where you like miscalibrate something, you're rude to somebody, or you put yourself in danger, obviously, or it should be obvious. But it's amazing how much you're able to play with reality, and you're holding yourself back because you're not pushing your imagination to be different than more ordinary, mundane, daily whatever's going about. The practice of activating your imagination is half the equation. Imagination and communication. That's what I first learned from AZD when I first came to San Jose, September 10th, 2015. Right. So when I look around and I see who the audience is, and I want to inspire you, I want to give you the goods. I want you to feel good about showing up, because I really appreciate you showing up. And I want to keep climbing to the top. I see everybody that's online as no less than a future employee or a future teammate or collaborator in business. Yes, in business. This is IMC Success Lecture. Everything that we want to do, DC Freak Judge, I see, is on. Everything we do in our business dealings with each other, like, why not? Why shouldn't we be massively successful? Why shouldn't we collaborate our efforts and build something? I'm not opposed to community like that. That's fucking awesome. That's like the spirit of capitalism, and I love that. Very close to my heart. And yes, we share values, and we'll share stories, and we'll share good experiences. And what else are you building with your life? You're either building increasingly isolated, or you're building increasingly connected with a few people, but it's always going to be isolating you from the rest of the world. You may feel more in union with the world as a child, where it's just, there's less and less separation between you and the rest. And separation happens mentally as we mature. So a lot of what I talked about in the original success lectures was, my strategy for expressing or broadcasting my communication and getting communication with people, how important it was So important. And I've been at it for years and I still feel years behind. And, I don't know how that relates to what you do in what you do, but I think it's essential. I couldn't imagine without pushing my communication out each day, without my communication lines, how boring, how mundane my day would be, how out of touch I would be. And when I think about the journey that it's been to get to here where I am, and saying, like I just said, like I still feel years behind, but getting to where I am, I know that years ago I was pushing my communication. I've been pushing my communication out for many years, but the subject of my communication or the recipient of my communication, obviously that has changed through time. So, more and more I get aligned with what I want to be aligned with. In the beginning, I was maybe not communicating about all of my favorite subjects or all the things. I wasn't in touch. I wasn't in tune with myself also. So there was a depth of my communication and my expression, and there was the subject matter. For example, I may have been teaching environmental engineering sciences or something. So the subject of that, Lone Wolf is here. The subject of that may not have been so aligned with what I'm talking about now. I'm talking about communication, pushing your communication out, getting in communication with your network and your environment, how important that is for your mental development, your linguistic development, how I've been at this for years, day after day, after day, after day, after day, after day, after day. And the subject of what I've been talking about has changed. And that's important to recognize, because you develop your communication around what you're talking about. You get better at those subjects, you get better at those words and phrasings. And if you're just talking business jargon all the time and you're not talking, interpersonal, whatever the fuck, figuring out your emotions, figuring out what the other person is trying to mean or say, and you may be levels up, you may be doing that, let's say with sales or clients or whatever, but you're always talking about stocks or you're always talking about crypto. How much are you talking about like life? Well, maybe as you become a better salesman, you're talking about all sorts of things, so that, because you found as a top salesman that your best favorite clients are the ones that you get along with the most, that you actually, not only do they want to do business with you, but you're so interested in what they do. That's like an ideal, but then you could be trapped by that, where you're part of a community of your clients because that's just who your clients be. As you have more and more, you could become more selective. But where are your guiding principles? You could be a spiritual man or whatever, or a spiritual woman. We have one woman on. But let's say, so Lone Wolf is here. I understand now more the name of Lone Wolf and why that. And so he always will be living with this dichotomy where people are going to tell him something like, the pack does better than the lone wolf. And he's going to be like, I fucking know. That's not why I'm called Lone Wolf. You get it? So, to make that choice of who you build with and who you are alone from, the separation. And within my group and growing that, I feel like I'm jumping subjects. What was I just talking about? I was talking about how everybody that's on, we should be doing no less than building business together, building life together. Like AZD's doing that by building out Utah. I'm doing that by connecting everybody, bringing them here, encouraging everyone to base up, giving them the white belt system, the basic brotherhood, the beasting routine, encouraging them to do that, encouraging other guys that are somewhere around me to also be encouraging people. So that Sultan's doing things, Demigod's doing things, Fernando's doing things, my apprentices, got 8 or 9 apprentices, or 7 or 8 or something. All of them are doing, Tony K's posts all the Enlightened Masculinity episodes. Jason Miracle Phillips coordinates all of my Enlightened Masculinity guests. Josiah and Rudy make me YouTube thumbnails, and they're learning how to do my YouTube posting. And Joan does the IMC accounting, and Damari and Zay are building the website and managing the website. Like, so we're leveraging and we're building together, and the world is doing whatever the fuck the world is doing. I'm not so convinced the world is as bad as it makes it sound, as it's made out to be. Like it's all so against us or whatever. Because I see people are holding themselves back more than the world is holding them back. It's like it's a lesser variable in the situation. There's infinite ways to win out there, and we're focused on the ways that we can't, or whatever. And they may not even be that we can't. We've just convinced ourselves that it's an I can't or whatever. I didn't think people could travel across national borders to come here for camp until Everett Dale did. And I guess there's ways to travel without the vaccine and not even break any rules or whatever. And maybe it's different rules in different places, but it's like, you know, when someone had a will and found a way, and it was like, you know, it wasn't a huge concern of mine, so I hadn't like looked into it that much, but other people had fed me the excuse and I just kind of listened and didn't, you know, it wasn't my thing to, you know, they obviously didn't have the will. He had the will and found a way. And I saw that what I considered lightly, I had lightly considered, and it was impossible. It wasn't impossible. And that's fascinating. Not to change subjects, but that's fascinating. I'm so fascinated by the expansion in my consciousness through so many communication lines. Let's say, for example, I go through so many people's Instagrams that I can see some really cool memes. It's really dope. And these people that I'm connected with and what they're into in their life, you know, I see Vanessa Sinclair's on. So she's going to be prospecting for, you know, what she does. And in that process, she's going to be connected with lots of Instagram accounts or however she does that. And you'll see, and Lone Wolf is doing painting business, and Tony K is doing, you know, DJing in clubs around Wisconsin and around the United States eventually. You know, Adrian Garcia is doing what he's doing at the clubs, and he could be hella promoting the club that he works for if he looked at his Instagram that way. Doesn't mean he can't do anime and whatever. Not everybody he promotes to is going to be exact. And it's not even, he's not the attraction, but he becomes a promoter because he's promoting the girls at the club. And so when you start spraying your communications out and leveraging that you're doing stuff in life and making people aware of it, making people know about it. And now I'm looking at my life and I'm like, I'm 35. I'm not that young. I'm not that old. I'm like looking forward, and I'm invested in my life, building into my life, creating and cooperating with the people that are important, always bringing new people in, kicking old people out if they don't, you know, measure up. So it's very interesting. I'm not attached, and yet I have attachment. I love the life, and I'm building it out so that people can take over my tasks and I can move on to the next levels of things. And I feel so honored and privileged to be able to be as aware as I am in my life, because that has not come naturally. It's required teachers, it's required practice and effort, and practice and effort requires a safe space and resources to pay for that safe space. And, you know, there's a whole history to me that has allowed me to be where I am now. And I'm very grateful for that. And the fruits of all of that effort is my awareness in this moment that how much I can impose my imagination to this moment and create an expression that is fulfilling for me, fulfilling for other people. And I want to encourage you to do the same, that your expression to those people that listen and follow, you just need one or two. And you can grow from that and value that tremendously, because another spiritual being is listening to what you have to say and what you have to express. And in the beginning, if it's just about a task or something, and you got to do a YouTube live or whatever about how to apply paint on a house or something, that's not your favorite thing to talk about, but you would get some viewers and listeners if you did that. Really hella appreciate that. You can always sprinkle in other things that you like. And, you know, it's a very cool thing, you know, because what's the alternative? We're creating a split life if we're trying to go and create, have like a social avatar and some kind of social presence. And meanwhile, over here, we have like our business presence or whatever. It's unintegrated. And I was just thinking about my family. I was thinking about, there's obviously separation and things that you don't talk about with everybody. Different people get different conversations. But I think the more this is going to sound really cliche, the more I died to other people's agendas for me, or the more I died to what it's this idea. I read it in Stoicism. I forget the wording that's going to make it so clear, but it'll just describe it. It's like other people's inspirations in me. They have put their inspirations in me so that I'm chasing their inspirations in life. And the more I die to those, the more transparent I become with my life. And then my life becomes integrated. But okay. The next step is you want to become a social engineer, social scientist, because just being that may violate people, and they have the right to take things personally. Also, I may say don't take it personally, but they may take it personally, and then I don't get their cooperation. So it's great once you learn to like free yourself of like withholding so much, trying to care so much about other people's opinions, then you can start to care about other people's opinions. So the point of this talk, without taking any more time, we want to end it here, is push your communication out, get in communication with your environment. That's how you apply this tech. It's a long journey, and it takes a lot of communicating, and fall in love with the process, like I was saying on lecture last night, of learning to navigate the winds, learn to sail this ocean of emotion and human interaction, because the only way out is through. As AZD says, L. Ron Hubbard says, the only way out is through. It's not the way out, the liberation of mental limits, of traumas, of unfulfilling life. The way out of that is through it, doing it, earning and learning the skills of how you want to be free. It's going to take communication is the main skill. Imagination is the background, invisible skill to communication. And, it'll take courage. It'll take practice. It'll take discipline. It'll take a lot more than whatever you think it'll take. And, I often think of death. I often think of my future. Those two things next to each other kind of help each other out. And anyway, that's the end of this. I'll see you guys on the next success lecture in 30 minutes. If you're not signed up for the Beast Gathering, who we got on? Mr. Harris, basketball, DC Freg Judge. I just messaged you guys. Sign up for the advanced gathering. We're tonight and most nights. Short advanced lectures. I send emails about it, and then the 3-day main event, pure dominance, language of pure dominance, the Osiris code. All right. See you on tonight. Os.